So one day, I am in college, and a missionary who is from America.
Where were you in college?
Yeah.
Where were you? What
in
college?
Uganda. In Uganda. Yeah, I was still studying. So he comes to my room because I had performed so well. I had gotten 99 in mathematics and 99 in physics, which was unusual. I had never seen anything like that. You know, to get physics in HSC, you know, it's not normal. He said, "What?" I almost had to remove one marks. He was our teacher in both, you know, advanced certificate of education to get that. So he came to my room to just thank me. So we were in our cubicle, two students living in the one room. So he started to preach to my neighbor, to my roommate, because he thought, since he's a Roman Catholic, he's not born again. But for me, I used to attend chapel. He thought I was born again. Because he saw me in the chapel, he assumed he was a Campus Crusade for Christ missionary in Uganda.
Okay.
Yeah, it was called Dan Noland. I'm sure he's listening somewhere. So he starts, and I'm reading the Bible, the verses for, you know, we are joining to talk to this Roman Catholic person. And then he comes to an illustration of Jesus' love. And then he comes to the event of Ronald Reagan, how he was, you know, an assassin targeted Ronald Reagan to shoot him.
And this is the story of President Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
That was a powerful testimony to you.
So one of his aides jumped to stand between the assassin and the president. By the time he's between the president and the assassin, the first bullet has already gone, and the second, but the third one hits him. So, and then he said, fortunately, the president and this aide both survived. So I stopped him. I said, "Wait a minute. You mean this guy jumped between the bullet and the president?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Wait." Now, in Uganda at that time, in the 80s, if you had a bullet, everybody had to take cover. You know, I think God used something that way, because we had just lost our cousin, shot. My, relatives had been shot. Anytime you had a bullet, you knew you were the next. Either it is targeting you. So bullets were, we could not afford, for us a bullet was anything that, the shock it brought. Because every time we had bullets, you'd wake up in the morning and the whole family had been shot. So for us, bullets were, and it was such a shock to me that somebody can jump, stand between a bullet.
Take a bullet for somebody.
And he said, "They're paid for that." I said, "What? You pay somebody to die?" He said, "Why are you shocked? That's exactly what Jesus did." For the first time, the gospel became so real. It was so real that Jesus died for me. God just used that and hit me hard. That night at 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday, 4th of July, 1984, your Day of Independence. That's when he came to visit, and I gave my life to Christ. The previous day, I was a different person. The next day, I was totally changed, man. My values changed, my interests changed, everything of me changed. Now, I started to read the Bible like, it was totally new. My whole life. Remember, I'm coming from bitterness, losing relatives and what. But then the climax was about 2.5 years later, when the Lord himself now starts to work in my heart to deal with the bitterness. Because of the pains that we went through. And on the 29th of January, 1987, I remember the day of operation, when God really operated me to forgive everybody. 29th of January, 1987. And I felt it was so real that I had forgiven everybody. I didn't have any more bitterness about that tribe, those people who killed us. I forgave them completely, so much that later on, when the son of the man who commanded our family to be killed needed to go to UK, to England, to study, he came, stayed in my house, and I helped him. I used my bank statement to support his visa, and he was given a visa and went and studied.
So this one I haven't heard. The commander.
He was a chief. He was a sub-counter chief who was in Obote government. He told
Obote's government.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he sent these soldiers in that area so that they would be killed. The person who was really behind it, we came to know about it. He's the one who instructed, and he's the one who said he should not be buried. Our cousin should not be buried. To torture us, to torment us, to take us through that,
He ends up staying in your home.
His son.
His son?
Yeah. Later on, he comes in the city and he needs help. I helped him. I brought him into my house. I helped him get a visa. I gave him my bank statements and what to go to the embassy as his benefactor to support him. He went to England, studied, and came back. And now that was total healing. My family could not understand that. They